name is Sadia.
I'm Bakar.
Andrea Allen.
Rachel.
Liis.
I'm Tracy.
The life advice I would give my younger self is
Don't try to please everyone, and it's okay to say no if you don't like it.
Just because we live in such a fast-paced environment and world nowadays, it's difficult to kind of appreciate every single step.
What's meant to happen will happen, so you should just go with it a little bit more.
The people that inspire me the most are my parents.
I think the easy answer to that is my mother and my mom, just because she's such a strong boss woman.
All the mothers inspire me.
Mostly due to their support, their strength, and their resilience.
I think the thing that makes me feel most empowered is being able to speak up. And what that means to me is saying what's on your mind.
I think when I have rested well currently, if I have a good night's sleep, I spend time with my daughter, I feel I can do anything.
I think remembering the power that we hold is really what unleashes that empowerment that we bring to ourselves. So definitely that's when I feel most empowered, when I remember like I got it.
Hello, Liis.
Hello.
Hi, how are you today?
I'm good. I'm amazing. How are you?
Yes, I'm very good, thank you. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you to everyone tuning in to our last workshop, part of our Empower Her campaign in collaboration with Adidas to celebrate International Women's Day 2024. So everybody, we are joined by the beautiful Liis here in person. You just saw her on the video. But we caught her here in person. And today's session will be focused on sportswear in the e-commerce world, the insider's guide. And who better to talk about that than our head of sports at Namshi? So Liis, before we get into all the amazing questions I have prepared for you, would love to give you the chance to talk a little bit about yourself, introduce your personal and professional journey to everyone.
Sure. I'm Liis. I'm heading the sports department here in Namshi. I've been in Dubai 11 years. My sports career started back home in Estonia. I started on Nike shop floor. So first-hand experience with the consumer, helping in store, selling the product, and etc. And then I was kind of moving upwards. I was offered a category manager role in Nike office back home in Estonia, and I did it for like a year. After that, life happened. My partner was offered a role in Dubai, so we decided we're going to move to Dubai. And I started off here with surf company who was kind of trying to develop their sports department. I was there for like almost 2 years, and then luckily I got invited to join Namshi, and that was my first journey in Namshi. I was in Namshi, I think, almost 5 years. This journey was all in the buying section and buying department. I was a senior buyer in the end. In the end of 2019, I was like, okay, it's time to move out of Dubai and pack our bags and go and travel the world and then go back home as well. I've been very long already away from the family. But again, life happens, and I got an offer at noon, and fortunately enough, it was exactly before COVID, so our travel plans would have been ruined, and anyways, I would have been stuck somewhere. So everything happens for the reason. I ended up in noon. Few years later, at noon, again, life happened. And I was off for a little while, and obviously that time kind of the acquisition happened. Noon brought Namshi, and when I was returning to work, I was moved to Namshi again, and I'm back with my half original team in Namshi in sports, and I'm super happy to kind of rebuild that team and work with the amazing people in Namshi again.
Oh my goodness, what a resilient story. You're here, you're there. I love it. All the experiences and life just coming in the way, doing its
Coming.
thing. Absolutely love it. Well, we love having you back, I have to say. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you for your intro. Okay, amazing. So let's just dive into all the questions I have prepared for you.
Sure.
I think the first one we'd love to hear about, and now that you've also been working at Noon and then moved back to Namshi, we would love to hear from your thoughts more about the evolving role of a buyer within the sports category, especially in the world of e-com, and how this buyer makes informed purchasing decisions and get onto that ladder, similar to what you did starting off as a buyer, now to head of sports. So could you shed a little bit of light on that?
Yes, of course. I mean, I think buyer role is like super important in the ecosystem of like retail and e-commerce and everywhere. We are the ones who are like shopping for work, so we are personal shoppers, shall I say, as a fun part of the job. But actuality, like there's a lot of things what the buyer role involves, like you need to analyze the data, you need to follow the trends, you need to make a very like informed decisions for the future orders as well. And example, like for me, the very important features of a buyer are super data driven, following the trend, as I said already, and being very open to the feedback, what different kind of departments are giving to you. If you get insights from the growth team, insights from brand, etc. And another part of the buyer role as well is being very good communicator, because you are the brand facing part of the business as well, and like creating those connections. Again, it's going back to the networking part, what you guys have been covering previous sessions. So building those relationship and like yeah, nurturing them every time. And the last bit for me is also taking the ownership, when you are buying the product, that you are the owner, and yeah, making sure that the right product makes that its way to the right consumer as well.
Wow, so interesting. And I can really feel and understand the importance of this role in the category. And honestly, you said it yourself. If you're buying for a job, I'm sold. Like that is such a cool way of putting it. So simple, but also understanding the detailed kind of granular elements of the role and how it plays into the bigger picture of how the category can be successful. Super, super interesting. And so what would you say are some tips on someone who kind of want to get into being a buyer or hasn't really got a lot of buying experience? What would be some advice you can give them to get into that role and what they can prepare for and expect to be successful?
Sure. So I think it's always very important to kind of start from the bottom and build yourself up. As I said, I'm coming from the shop floor. Product knowledge is super important, and you need to be very passionate about it. Like, I say it a lot to my team that one of my favorite things in the shop was to sell shoes. You can tell the story, you can educate the consumer, you can talk about technologies, and it's so interesting. And like being passionate about what you are selling to the consumer as well, it's very important. And like educating yourselves on trends, the product, and the overall business. There's so many resources and internet that you can follow and get that information, and be prepared to work and put the effort in, and you're gonna succeed.
Wonderful. And I think you touched on this a little bit about the type of skills that is expected from a buyer, being very trendy, knowing what's going on in the market, but also being very data driven. But are there other types of softer skills that you would expect from a buyer, knowing that they are very brand facing as well, that they will need to like work on and strengthen to continue their career as a buyer?
Definitely. As if you are going to be brand facing, you really need to have a strong communication skills, and also listening to the brands, what their needs are, and putting out also what are our needs. So you kind of create that collaboration and you work together as one team. What I see that the aggressiveness doesn't really help in this kind of situation, and like one-sided relationship doesn't work. I would say like working with brands is like a relationship. You need to nurture it and you need to take care of it. So yeah, like it's, you can take a lot of tips from your family relationship or your relationship with your partner or so on. So it's very like kind of building that bond with the brand as well, and like being open for all the feedback, and yeah.
I also feel like perhaps, and if you may agree, like you were in customer service, you were front facing the customer. I'm sure that experience helped you build your confidence, but also how to communicate with different types of personalities, perspectives, which I'm sure benefits you when it comes to dealing with the brands, right?
Definitely, definitely. You need to take into consideration like different cultural backgrounds as well. As we are in Dubai, you have so many different cultures. You need to have a different approach, but by each different person as well. Like you can't have the same kind of way how you approach the same like the different people, sorry. So yeah, you need to really like read the person as well, and like listen. For me it's like listening as well, like that is very important.
Oh my goodness, I love that. And one word that keeps sticking to me that I keep remembering we talked about in previous workshops is pivot. You got to
Yeah,
pivot based on who you're speaking to.
for
Um,
sure.
so that's amazing. Wonderful. Okay, so we'll move away from the buyer side of things. And I would love to ask you a little bit about trends. Like that is such a cool part of this workshop, hopefully. But I would love to understand from you how trends within sports really influence buying decisions, and how, like, what are some tips and advice you can give for people to stay ahead of the curve? Let's touch on a little bit about the differences in this region, in the Middle East, but also outside of the Middle East.
For sure. So obviously trends are very important in the overall fashion business. Like it's the same way like we take fashion brands, sports has trends, and sports has become like more gonna lifestyle and a big part of fashion as well. If we look at the previous years, there has been so many collaboration with high fashion brands like Adidas doing a Gucci collaboration. So sports is a big part of fashion and it follows a lot of trends as well. So how we keep ourselves up to date on the trends, we use the forecast sites, example like WGSN, which is super helpful. We prepare ourselves prior to the season we go to. Like example, now we're going to be preparing for SS25, which is spring summer 25. We are buying so far ahead, so it's very important to kind of follow these kind of forecast sites, because current trends can be very different what we can see coming in to the future. But obviously you can start to look at also the micro trends which are coming up on social media, and then you need to be more reactive, doing in-season buying or trying to work with the brands to get faster to the market collaborations or certain like in-season kind of packs or etc. And obviously you in e-commerce you have a lot of data to read as well, so you need to daily check your trends, what's going on, what are your best sellers and what are your worst sellers, so you keep up on that part as well. So you have multiple components what you need to really put all together, and then you can kind of make an informed decision in your pre-order seasons as well. And if you go to the like cultural differences in here in this region, and if we compare it to example in Europe, there are certain small changes. Previously the trends were picked up a little bit slower, but obviously now social media is so readily available, and you can kind of follow all the trends, what's going on in the rest of the world, and you can pick it up very easily, take inspiration and etc. Just like maybe small things, what you can see is like a lot of metallic and golden accents are working here better. Or in Saudi example, their national color is green, so of course more green product is moving faster there. So there's like little bits and pieces, but we are pretty much on kind of same trajectory like rest of the world in the trends.
Love that. Oh my goodness. And honestly, I've seen your style. It's very trendy. You have your own kind of personality with the way you dress. So I absolutely love that. A question has actually come in, which I think is super interesting to ask you is, what is your GOAT sneaker? What is the greatest of all time sneaker of Liis?
Oh, wow, that's a very good question. Ooh, I think I need to say it's a superstar. Superstars are like one of my first memories of sneakers when I was young. The shell toe shoe. Obviously, that time I didn't have access to this, and living in a kind of post-Soviet country, it was not accessible that much. I got kind of fake version of of that, but now I have the original superstar white and black stripes, and I think it's very good sneaker to style up, style down, and like you can wear it every day. You can wear it with everything, I feel.
Oh my goodness. We love an item that literally works with so many things. You don't have to think about it, right? It's just your
Yeah.
go-to. Love it.
Okay.
A couple of questions have come through a little bit about you in specific. So a question that has come through from Tanya. As a leader for the sports team at Namshi, how important is staying fit or having interest in sports in general? Is walking the talk something you need to
Oh,
have?
I think definitely it's important to kind of be involved in sports as well, and being active and understanding your consumer, who, like, because you're going to be the part of the consumer base as well. Like you can test the product yourself. Example, I used to run a lot. Now not that much. New fresh mother. Priorities have shifted, but I'm trying to get back. I love to test different new shoes, give feedback to the brands as well. And I think this is a very good addition to the buyer as well, that they test the product, they try it themselves, they touch and feel, or like they can really understand the product themselves as well. And in shoes, it's very important.
Because they're also customers, right? So
Sure.
it's important to have that experience. Oh my goodness, love that. Another question came through, which I think you may have answered slightly, is what is your favorite sport?
My favorite sport, definitely running, trail running specifically. I would say this is my therapy. I'm missing the mountains a lot. I haven't been able to go back to it after having my daughter, but soon, hopefully.
Well, I'm sure you're chasing your daughter around. That's kind of like
Yeah,
running, right?
definitely. Yes,
You kind of get a sense of it here and there.
pretty much. She's getting pretty fast, so
You don't need mountains, just have her run around.
yes.
Another question's come through from Miriam. How does clothing affect sport? Is that important to pick a specific outfit?
Definitely. I think what has been happening, that people are like, okay, footwear is super important, but they are kind of closing the eye when they're choosing the apparel and going for like cheaper options or not that technical product. But getting the right product for your sports is super important. Example, talking about women's choosing the right sports bra, I think, is one of the most important things. Like you need to have that support when you go for high intensity trainings or running. It can cause a lot of difficulties and uncomfortable, like it's very uncomfortable to run with not a proper bra. Same goes for the shorts. Like, you can get chafing if it's a different materials. If you use cotton-based product as well, it's not that hygienic as well, because they are not treated with, example, Climacool treatments from Adidas, that you keep your body cool as well, and same time kind of the sweat absorption is not so big in the material. So yeah, definitely it plays a big role to kind of pick the right apparel pieces as well, not just the footwear.
Oh my goodness. And I think what's amazing is that Adidas have like categories for this, right? So if you're talking about sports bras, there's one for like light impact, low impact, medium impact, high impact. So it's very available for everyone to pick and choose. And you're right, comfort should be the first thing. And then being able to keep that on and feeling confident in it, I guess, comes along
Yes.
as well. Love it. There's so many questions about your shoes. I do have to slip it in. I would assume you're a sneaker freak, but there's a question from Marianne that says, being part of the sports category, how many sneakers or shoes do you own?
Oh, I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure now. I haven't done the count recently, but I would say I used to have around 100. I think now it's a little bit less. And I've been kind of pulling down my purchasing. I'm trying to make more like right decisions, not like impulse buys, because I used to buy a lot. But yeah, I think approximately 100, I would say I have.
Wow. I hope your daughter is your foot size when she grows up, because she'll get them
Hopefully.
all.
Hopefully.
And style as well. Love that. Amazing. Thank you for sharing. Okay, talking about product and talking about how it's so important to have that impact on your body as to what kind of product you choose based on the sports. I'd love to move over a little bit about sustainability, which is obviously a hot and very important topic in sportswear. So if you could shed a bit of light for us in terms of the rise of sustainable collections in sportswear. Let's talk about what you see, what you've observed, what you know. Let's kind of like talk a little bit about what your thoughts are on it as well.
Sure. As you mentioned, it's like a hot trending word sustainability, and I think the sports brand have been really focusing on it. It doesn't necessarily mean they're not all of them are doing the right thing as well in this. As an example, Adidas is doing an amazing job. They're really talking about it very transparently. They're posting all the reports in their site as well, and you can read about it more in detail. Their goal by 2050 is to be fully climate neutral, which is amazing. And fun fact, by 2025, 9 out of 10 articles will be sustainable, and already by end of 2022, 96% of their polyester product was recycled. So it's super amazing what they're doing, and it's not only what they're doing about the product, it's uh, being fully sustainable, be their supply chain, their value chain, and everything like that. And even internally, like, they're very encouraging their own employees to move forward to sustainability. They don't have any plastic in their offices, and same with, like, when we go there, you can't have a plastic cup to take water. You have to have your own bottle, or you can use their reusable cups, which is very, very good. And I think everyone should do that in their offices, and use reusable bottles. Like, it's amazing. Like, why not? Like, why would you use single-use plastic? It's very, very bad for the Mother Earth. And we've been like, not recent years, but many, many years, abusing and using it. And we need to love our Mother Earth much more than we are doing now.
So she can love us back. right?
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Wow, that is so inspiring. I love how they touch so many different touch points, not just in their product, but also in their people. I
Yeah,
absolutely love that. And I think, it even gives, at least as an employee, if I were an employee of Adidas, it would give me a sense of purpose that my
for sure.
brand stands more than just what we're selling in store. There's purpose behind it,
Yeah.
just to protect the world we live in. I love that.
Yeah.
Amazing. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, how exciting. Okay. I guess a couple of questions that have come through now that I'd love to pick on is again on to you. I'm sorry that I'm putting you in the spot here. We want to know all about Lisa's favorite things. um, so a question that has just come through is, do you have any favorite Adidas collections? Let's talk past, present, upcoming, in the future.
There's so many. How much time we have?
We don't. Well, yeah, we're here for a couple more minutes. You can go.
No, I think for me, like going back to the sustainability part, I think Adidas by Stella McCartney has been a very kind of inspiring collection for me. And Stella McCartney herself is a very inspiring woman. All her product is sustainable. It's not using any animal products in her shoes, example. And overall, it's like, look at those styles on the screen, like it's fierce and it's looking amazing, like you feel like a power woman wearing that product. So yeah, that's I think one of my favorite ones. And the recent ones, I think this is like a collaboration what Adidas has been doing, and I'm wearing the top as well. It's Wales Bonner, and they're doing amazing job with that. The shoes, the apparel, it looks super cool, taking a lot of inspiration from like retro styles. Like this one, it's like kind of inspired a football polo shirt. So these are kind of my two favorite ones. I'm not gonna go all in. There's more, but I'm not gonna bore you with all of that.
I can't even imagine your closet back home. It's just like stripes.
Too many. Too
Your
many.
husband must be very happy about that.
Yeah.
A question that has come through, but I also want to tap into it a little bit about your background. So you've obviously worked in Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, and then now in the Middle East. So Anushka asked earlier, are there any major trend differences between the rest of the world and the Middle East? I think what we can do is, if you can shed a bit of light of where you came from when you were back home in that side of the world versus now in the Middle East, what are some main differences that you picked up on?
As I mentioned before, I think it's not really that different. We have an influence of similar from more Slavic consumer as well back home, like this metallic accents and like silver, gold, a little bit of glittery stuff and shiny things. Very similar trend, I would say, is here as well, like always our best sellers. But as I mentioned before, I think currently nowadays it doesn't really matter where are you based in. You can follow all the trends, and I think especially like Dubai, it's like a hub. You can see so many trendy people, and same I would say in Saudi. It's getting amazing, like so many individuals with amazing style. I think it's just go and people watch in the malls or streets, and like it's just cool to see different kind of cultures and how they interpret the big global fashion trends.
Oh, 100%. We were talking about this yesterday, how like the Dubai in particular is like a melting pot of cultures, right? But that
Yeah,
also means a melting pot of trends and styles and preferences. So if you sit in the mall and you just watch, like people watch,
yeah,
you can
for
see
sure.
each person just have their own kind of identity with the way they dress. And I hope to believe that that influences what the brands decide in terms of what
For
sells
sure.
and what to push, and it's amazing.
Yeah,
Personally, like I love athleisure. Like I love going out in like my joggers, making it look kind of cool. I think comfort for me is everything. So I love to see brands actually like put that out there and prioritize it in their
yeah,
collections. Talking about
definitely.
athleisure, just got a question for you again, Liis. Do you wear a piece of sports/athleisure every day?
Oh, yes. I can tell you I have only 2 pairs of heels and they come out once a year maybe. And yeah, I'm always sneakers and either like a top from sports brands or pants even from sports brands. And I'm like, yeah, daily basis. I'm living what I'm buying.
You are like the perfect person for the category. You're a walking sports
Yes,
fan.
yes, you can put a toot sports.
I know Lisa's in the office when you see like your kind of style around. I love that. Amazing. Okay. Ooh, another question just popped up, which I think is relevant to the first part of our conversation, but great for us to pick up now, is from Marianne. What were your work challenges when you used to be a sports buyer, and what do you think they are now? Is there a difference? Is it almost the same?
That's a very good question. I'm not prepared for that. No, I think like obviously the buyer role is very evolving, and like the more data is going to be available, and trends is changing as well. You need to really kind of, for me, it's very important that you read the data. Previously, the buyer role was like very much looked as like, oh, you're just selecting the product and not putting really effort into the data part. But I think you really need to work on it. And I think in the beginning, I was really like counting on my kind of trend knowledge and etc. But by the time I figured that I really need to involve in my decisions also a lot of data, and I think that has helped me a lot as well. And e-commerce, like buyer, the base never ends. Like it's so fast. Yeah, okay, it hasn't changed. The base hasn't changed. It's like you are on the go, go, go.
I also feel, and I maybe hear more from you, as social media has so much power and you get access to so much data just on the internet, on social platforms. And surely, like with social media growing every day, the more access a buyer will have for the trends, right? Perhaps that wasn't the
For sure.
case years
True.
ago.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I think now it's so easy to follow different influencers. Even the brands are kind of putting a lot of content out there, and like you can follow so many different kind of people and accounts that would give you so much inspiration, like Society, high piece. They're like putting articles out of different trends coming up or already there. So it's like keeping yourself informed and like reading industry articles is, I think, very important as well.
Love that. Thank you for that insight. Another great question that has just come through is, what advice would you tell a fresh graduate who's interested in getting into buying?
Wow, I think either start to interning, like try to intern in Namshi as a buying assistant, or if you can or are able to apply for a buying assistant admin as well. We are very open to kind of as well help people to get to this role, because this is kind of the entry base to buying, and start from there. Or even like as I said, I started from the shop floor. Like you get so much information from there, and don't feel that this is kind of a not a I would say it's a very good job to do, and like it's interesting. You can also learn the communication part there, get more confidence, and as you said, Krystel, as well. So this is a very good role to kind of get into, and then from there you can move upwards and work hard to get to the buyer level as well.
I also feel like customer service, especially in the retail industry, you literally can apply those skills almost every position in
For
retail,
sure.
because there are so many transferable skills that you developed being in customer service. And honestly, if it were up to me, I would have loved to start my career in customer service, because the type of nuances and challenges you face just dealing with different consumers
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
makes you super agile. You're so resilient. So I truly, truly believe, and so you literally like were so accurate when you said that, these type of skills, they do help you in the future, especially if you want to go into buying.
Yeah.
Oh, another question has just come in. It's more of an HR question, so I think I'll take this one. Lisa, please feel free to add on any thoughts you have on this. What tips do you have for people wanting to get into this world? I assume the sportswear buying kind of world. What type of resume works? Should they have a portfolio include data points? This is a really interesting one. I think, Liis, you and I have worked together on recruitment, so we've seen the different types of CVs, profiles. Look, I think what's important is to really first be yourself. Self-expression is very important, because when you're working in a business, you want to make sure that you get to be the most real version of yourself, which will also help you be the best version of yourself. So I think the first thing is really self-reflect, be self-aware of what you can do, what you still need to work on, and understand, what makes you happy, what fills your cup, what serves you purpose. Because when you get those foundationary elements down, you'll be able to understand where you want to go. Now, will you end up exactly where you want to go? Probably not. You may have to pivot. You may have to go into different roles to understand what you like and what you don't like. But it's important that you try, you take that risk, network to know what you're getting yourself into, ask questions from the experts in the industry. And then going into resume, I strongly believe that a short and sweet one is wonderful, because yeah, you don't want your CV to read like a job description. You want it to almost just help the person, the receiver or the interviewer, understand what you've done, what has been very impactful for the business you've worked on. Really focus on quality versus quantity, because it's important. And I think a tip that I like to share with other people is that it takes 7 seconds, if not less, for a recruiter to look at a CV and gain interest.
Okay.
Almost like an elevator pitch, right? Like short, sweet, help the recruiter understand what experience you have that can fill the gaps in their business, the pain points in that business, and what kind of wins and achievements you've done that will really leave a lasting high impact in the role. And I think focus less on like the things that perhaps are quite normal, the generic task and responsibilities, and focus on the big rocks. Should they have a portfolio and include data points? Yes, especially if you're going into a creative role. I think Rachel from the first session talked a little bit about making sure you save all of your work in a central place, almost like your little library, because you never know when you're going to need to present that in the future. Also, LinkedIn allows you to like create posts and talk a little bit about all your achievements. Those are all points that a recruiter or an HR person would want to see. Even things that are outside of your corporate role, like what have you done to give back to the community? What have you done in terms of sustainability? That shows your character. And many a times, at least from an HR screening perspective, we want to know who you are, like from the multiple layers of work you've done, but what you stand for, what is important to you. Are they aligned with the company values and cultures? Those are all very important things to consider. So hopefully that kind of a lot of information, but that kind of wraps up. If I were to say one thing, just quality, high impact, focus on the big things, what will really create a lasting effort, and just continue networking and getting to know people, especially in the industry you want to tap into. Do you have anything to add on that, Liis?
Well, I think you covered it very well, and like just be yourself, and obviously everyone has like things to improve, so don't like kind of try to hide them. With example, if you're in an interview and like someone asks you like what the things you want to improve or like learn, be open about it. Like we are able to help you in this as well, and like it just shows you how as a real person and like real you. So be you.
And to add on to that, actually being aware of the opportunities that you need to work on shows your emotional intelligence, which is a skill that a lot of leaders really practice every day, because being aware of what you need to work on says a lot about your character, how emotionally aware you are, which you literally utilize in every single role that you'll get into. EQ is just as important as IQ, at least in my opinion. We just got a question from Alana. A question for the both of us actually is, what tips would you give someone who is looking forward to transitioning from a career as a designer in the architect industry into e-commerce? Oh, that's a big question. I need a minute to think about that.
That's a great question. Oh wow. I think it's again like going back to like do your research and prepare yourself, like all the details, what is involved in e-commerce as well, and like the internet is endless and you can get so much information about all the details what is needed. So research.
And network people.
Oh yeah.
You wouldn't be the only one who moved from an architect industry to e-commerce, right? So try to find communities or people or experts who have done a similar shift like that. Ask them what it was like, how did they prepare for it. But also, like you said, just look online. I think the e-commerce world is ever blooming and ever progressing, but there are surely skills that you've developed in the architect industry that you can apply into e-commerce. So I think it's just making yourself aware and doing the right research and building the right connections that will help you push forward, hopefully. Do you agree, Liis?
I do.
Yeah, networking is like everything.
Oh
We
yeah.
should just have it like in the background of everything that we, all the walls that we have, just network. Just do it.
Network.
Amazing. Okay, so I guess this is the perfect time to kind of wrap up. And before we go into what I would think the most exciting part, knowing more about your style, Liis, is there one type of advice or tip you can give everyone who's tuning in terms of what your, I guess, overall learning or key takeaway is on sportswear and being a buyer, like all of that good stuff that we've talked about? Is there anything you want them to remember after this conversation?
I think being a buyer is an amazing role. Like you have so much to do daily basis. It's so fast paced and it's interesting as well. And like daily, you have so many new things what you have to work on. You go and meet the brands. You change your environment. You don't need to be always in the office. Sometimes we are even going to adidas headquarters to Germany, so you get some trips as well, which is exciting. But overall, like a tip I would say is always ask questions. You don't need to know everything, and like being humble and understanding that there's others around you who will know the things, and like go and ask it. Ask about the topic what you don't know and like educate yourself, and then if someone is coming to you next time, you can help them. So it's always being an open and like asking the questions. We don't know everything, like just be open.
And we don't expect them to, especially like the
No,
fresh graduates. Like,
of course.
it's all about the continuous learning. Amazing. Before we go into your edits, and because we've spoken so much about buyers, I know that buyers also work very closely with planners. So I'm definitely going to shout out that we are looking for a sports planner to work with Liis. So if there's any super talented senior sports planners out there, give us a shout. Have a look at our job ad on LinkedIn and Namshi's page, and you get to work with the amazing Liis and her team. Like, what more do you need?
Come join our fun sports team, please.
Okay, let's go into your looks, because that's been like a question from everybody. We just want to know what Liis is wearing, what she has, how many shoes she has. So let's talk a little bit about the edits and the outfits and the clothing items that you've chosen with Adidas.
Yeah. So my style is very kind of, I would say, tomboyish. I use a lot of men's clothing in my styling, or like oversized as my top from the shoot as well. It's similar kind of polo cut, and it's very trending currently. The football inspired, also the Titos, what you can see, Sambas there. It's again football inspired articles, like sweatshirts from kind of varsity inspired. I really like oversized items as well, and like, yeah, there's a lot of amazing items what we have from Adi Originals. Like, you can see the details of a little bit of green and like this kind of off-white item. It's very, very nice, I think.
Oh, absolutely love it. And I do have to say that it's so easy to get to purchase these items, guys. All you got to do is take a screenshot of this, what you see on the screen now, that QR code you see at the bottom right. It will, if you just click it, when you save it into your gallery, your phone gallery, it'll take you straight to the item. So making it easy for everyone to choose some of Lisa's favorite products.
Yeah.
I mean, I love those varsity shorts. Oh,
Yeah.
stunning.
So comfy. You can do it. You can wear them on a weekend. You go for breakfast. You can wear it with sneakers. There's one sneaker which I really like, was on the screen before, the SL72. These are coming back full on. They're so retro ones, like running retro shoes. Like, I really like that one. There's a lot of new colorways coming in soon for Namshi as well. And then autumn winter 24, it's gonna like blow up. It's amazing. I really like that shoe.
Ooh, very exciting. Stay tuned, everyone. Amazing. Well, thank you for sharing these amazing products. Hopefully, and I'm sure that they will apply to someone with a similar style. But if it doesn't, there are other amazing women on the Namshi website within this campaign that also have their own picks and chosen outfits. So hopefully one of these styles will interest our listeners. Amazing. Well, this was just wonderful of a conversation, Liis. Thank you so much for your time. This wraps up the last workshop, so sad, of the Empower Her campaign with Adidas. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and thank you very much, Liis, and I wish everyone a good day.
Thank you so much, guys.
My name is Sadia.
I'm Liis Pagil.
Andrea Allen.
Rachel.
Please, I'm Tracy.
The life advice I would give my younger self is,
don't try to please everyone, and it's okay to say no if you don't like it.
Just because we live in such a fast-paced environment and world nowadays, it's difficult to kind of appreciate every single step.
What's meant to happen will happen, so you should just go with it a little bit more.
The people that inspire me the most are my parents.
I think the easy answer to that is my mother and my mom, just because she's such a strong boss woman.
All the mothers inspire me.
Mostly due to their support, their strength, and their resilience.
I think the thing that makes me feel most empowered is being able to speak up. And what that means to me is saying what's on your mind.
I think when I have rested well currently, if I have a good night's sleep, I spend time with my daughter, I feel I can do anything.
I think remembering the power that we hold is really what unleashes that empowerment that we bring to ourselves. So definitely that's when I feel most empowered, when I remember, like, I got it.